For nearly a decade, inside a Los Angeles Superior Courtroom, one of the strangest legal battles in American history has been unfolding. Ever since Charles Manson died, people have been coming out of the woodwork claiming to be his true blood family, fighting for his estate. But claiming you're related to Manson is one thing. Proving in a court of law is another story entirely. Thousands of pages of court filings, 9 long years, and one simple question that no one seems to be able to answer easily. Who are the real blood relatives of Charles Manson? So anyone that was familiar with Manson's case might say, hey, did Manson have 3 kids? Yeah, he did. He had Michael Brunner, but his first child was actually Charles Manson Jr. And then second child was Charles Manson Jr. Yep, he had one of those cases like, yeah, this is my brother Daryl and this is my other brother Daryl. That was Charles Luther Manson, and most people will say, he named him after his uncle. No, he didn't. He named him after her dad. Her dad's name was Luther. That's Charles Luther Manson Jr. That's what he looked like when he was a young kid. That's Starla. She came out. He has another daughter who doesn't want to come out. And he also had another daughter by the name of Sue Ella Erie, and she passed away before he did. He's passed away now too as well. Charlie Manson Jr., this guy tragically took his own life. This is Rosalie Willis. This is the only person that was ever married to Charles Manson. You can go find all the paperwork. You can find the marriage certificate, the blood test, everything. You can find everything. Except with her, all you can find is a divorce record. And as Manson said in that card, she just made up the divorce so that she could take custody of her child. Charlie Manson Jr. Charlie Manson Jr. Ironically, both of them became named Jay later in life. So we're going to look at more of this paperwork from the Superior Court case, this family court case down in Los Angeles, who actually is related to Charles Manson. You know, it's been going for 9 years now. Can you imagine? 9 years. Can you imagine what a person could do in 9 years? Well, I can tell you one thing. When I first came out of the courthouse, there was a bunch of media on the very first day. Like I said, I've been here since the very first day. I came outside, and they asked me, what are my thoughts about this? And I told them right then and there, I says, this is a curse. This whole thing is a curse. And nobody listened to me. They didn't believe me. They just blew it off like, just words. Okay, he's making up cute little words. No, it's a curse. I'm going to tell you. Let me go down the list of some things that have happened just since then, Okay, my first day. I didn't have an attorney. Like I said, I was pretending like I was an attorney. I went in there pretending, the judge says, you need to get one. So I came back and I worked really hard. I called another 1,000 people and finally found one. And had an attorney. Actually had 3 of them. The second time I went back. As we walked into the courtroom, my main attorney, got a call on his phone. He looked at his phone and he turned completely white. Curse has begun. He told the judge that he couldn't continue. I'm like, what? I just got you. He couldn't continue. The other 2 guys were going to be taking over for him, and he had to split. He had to go to his doctor. Well, he went to his doctor, and his doctor told him that he had terminal cancer, and he had just no time to live. Basically, no time left to live. He was out. And I'd never seen him again, and he died. So I was out an attorney. Then I had another attorney quit, and there's been about 5 judges in this case. There's been several appeal judges in this case. Every time you walk up to the window to file paperwork, in this case, it costs you $435. It's a curse. One of the people who started this case, he died. Another person who started this case, his wife died. Another person who started this case, her husband died. Another person who started this case was happily married. He always proclaimed, I'm happily married and all this beautiful stuff. He's not happily married anymore. He's divorced. One of the kids don't even talk to him anymore. They don't even like him anymore. It's a curse. It's a complete curse. This little girl coming into the case claiming, Charles Manson's my grandfather. She just don't even know. She don't even know what she's in for. So let's get into a little more of this today, see if we can figure out what's going on in this case down there in Los Angeles Superior Court. Why in the last video I think that the girl prematurely stated her case as being the granddaughter and how dangerous that is anyway in the first place, even if you are. And all the other things that go along with the grandson, the daughter, the son, the two other sons, 3 sons actually, Charles Manson. Let's look at it all, because it's really it's confusing for everybody. It's confusing for the judge. It's confusing for the people that are in the case. The only person I don't think it's confusing to is me, because I'm really interested in all this stuff, and I get it. I don't know if anybody else. I'll tell you one thing. There's a lot of rumors that are spread, not just by people on the media like Nicholas Schreck, who have said things like Michael Brunner tested his DNA with the Maddox family. No, he never. Never happened. Nicholas Schreck also said that Jason matched the DNA of my... No, he didn't. He never has. So he's made up so many rumors in this case, let alone in this book. Let's just look at the real stuff that come from the court, because people say, oh, you don't like Nicholas Schreck. No, it's not that I don't like the guy. He just makes stuff up. And then when I say, just make stuff up, then he don't like me, and all kinds of bad things he says about me, and then I say bad things back, because that's just the way it goes, you know? But dislike him? No. He just makes stuff up. And he's gotten Michael Brunner on his side so much that he probably screwed Michael Brunner. He probably screwed that guy out of a lot of things, you know? And turned Michael Brunner into somewhat of a snake in the process. So we're getting into all that today, because people were like, oh, you're mean, you're nasty, you're mean to these people. No, I'm nice to these people. These people have all been mean to me. And sometimes that's not the right thing to do. Some people don't like to be treated mean after they treated you nice. Let's get into all this. August the 9th, 2019, and this was in the LA Weekly. And this is proof. You know, me and Nicholas Schreck like each other enough to be in the same room together. I actually look like I like him more than he looks like he likes me. I'm the one that's smiling here. So, yeah, we're cordial. Of me and Nicholas, and Danny is in the middle, a guy that was running a show that we were both doing. Nicholas was showing his film, where you could see Nicholas's film on a big screen. I did. Cool. Say I did it. And the other show was a bunch of memorabilia where you could come and look at Manson memorabilia. And this picture, I had to show it because of the fact that the other day somebody says I was really mean to Michael Brunner. So before we get into more of Michael Brunner and the story, because other people said, you know, where did Michael Brunner's mom say that Michael wasn't her kid? Because I read in this trial transcript, it says she is. And this one, she said there was a lot of trials, and we're going to get to the one where she said that he wasn't, or he possibly wasn't. But this picture was the first kind of downfall with me and Michael Brunner, because at this point, Michael Brunner was already, he wasn't part of the he wasn't part of this case anymore. He got excluded because he ran out of things. And but he became really good friends with this dude Nicholas. And I was talking to Michael on the phone a lot, you know. I really felt for him. It seemed like now he was coming around, and he liked his dad after all the years of hating his dad. He was finally coming around. And I was trying to tell him, I liked his dad. I don't care what anybody says in the world. I liked Charles Manson. The dude was good to me, really good to me. I liked him. He was a good dude. He treated me good. So I was trying to relay those things to Michael, and we talk on the phone all the time. And one of the things that I mentioned on the phone to Michael one day was during this thing here, he called me, and I was talking about, I'm in that thing too. And Danny's paying me. The guy in the middle was paying me, of course. And I mentioned to Michael that Danny was paying me $8,000. And didn't pay it much mind. It was just a general conversation, me and him, just talking. Well, the next thing, it wasn't long after that conversation, it was like the next day, Danny called me up, and Danny was irate. He was like, why are you going and telling these people on how much I'm paying you? Because Nicholas Schreck's pissed off now because he's only getting a plane ticket here and $1,000. And I'm like, hey, dude, I didn't tell anybody. He goes, you had to. How would they know? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I told Michael Brunner. Sorry. And next time I talked to Michael Brunner, I'm like, dude, why did you go run and tell Nicholas Schreck how much money I was making? Oh, I didn't do it. I swear to God, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. The whole routine of tap dance. They never want to admit, I finally admitted to Danny, yeah, I told Michael Brunner, but Michael never admitted to me that, yeah, I told Nicholas Schreck. But he did. He did. So that was my first, this dude's a snake. So, here's a picture from that night. There's me and Michael. He's smiling like he likes me. He's pretty lucky that I liked him that night, I'll tell you. But this is a friend of mine, Barry. And of course, that's Nicholas, Michael Brunner, and me, downtown in the streets of LA. It's a nice picture. But I already knew at this point, it didn't come down to the money thing that I knew Michael was a snake. I knew a year before that when right here he wrote, or tried to, it got intercepted because you can't do this kind of stuff. This is kind of like malicious shit he was trying to do. But he was trying to write the judge. After he got kicked out, of course, he was trying to write the judge. And basically in it, he was trying to tell the judge that other people in this had asked for Manson to write out a will and Manson wouldn't do it. So he already knew that his dad's wishes wasn't that. That all came from this dude right here. More shit coming from this guy right here into Michael Brunner's brain, out of his mouth, into his fingers, onto a typewriter, trying to write the judge. Got intercepted though. Of course they have to give my attorney a copy to say, hey man, this dude was trying to write the judge on you. Did you know that? So let's recap here. Valentine Michael Manson never existed. This is Michael Brunner. This is his mom in 2017. And this is actually his new mother and his new dad and his new sister way back when he was a little boy. He didn't know any different. He didn't know this lady was his mom. He thought then it was his sister. You had Charlie's baby, is that correct? I had a baby. It's Charlie's baby, isn't it? He belongs to himself. Pardon? He belongs to himself. You called him Michael Manson, didn't you? For a birth certificate, yes. The baby did have a father, I assume. Is that correct? Most babies do, yes. And the father is Charles Manson, is that correct? The legal father is Charles Manson. The physical father was Charles Manson too, isn't that correct? That's hard to say. You accept the baby's father as being Charles Manson, isn't that correct? I gave the baby a last name to get him out of court. Wrote about me in the letter to the judge, which is kind of sad. So, I just kept even him telling Schreck about, or about the money thing. Let it go too. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to watch my back with these people because they're all alike. They all just nobody has any kind of scruples. They all just kind of it's like a rat race to the top of the shit mound. It's just what it seemed like. But anyway, Michael was still calling me on the telephone. And the final straw was the day that, and it wasn't with me. Again, I don't have any ill will against Michael. He called me up threatening me. He was drunk as a skunk. I can't stand talking to drunk people. And he was drunk as all get out, calling me up, telling me, "You're the only one that has my dad's DNA and I want it." You didn't know that, did you? Out of all these people, every one of them, I actually have Manson's DNA. And I'll explain that. It took me a lot of effort, a lot of fighting, a lot of struggle, and a lot of money. Because it's not running through my veins. I can't just pump it out. Jason Freeman was very quickly trying to get this body and destroy it after he got it. And I knew that kind of foresight of that was going to happen. If somebody else won this body, this thing wasn't going to end. So it'd be their word against anybody's word of who matches Manson's DNA. So we got in touch with the Kern County coroner. That's what all this paperwork comes from. Kern County says, yeah, you know what? You're right. After the body's destroyed, you ain't going to have any kind of evidence. And right now, Manson's still in custody of the prison, and we can actually take the DNA from him right now. Just write up papers and file them in court, and let's get this done. So we did. We wrote up papers, filed in court, got it done. Even found out that after we had the DNA of Manson's, it was going to expire in 2 years. The court order would expire in 2 years. DNA will last forever. But the court order was going to expire in 2 years, so we even got that extended. Filed more paperwork, got it extended. All this money, it's just a pile of money that just keeps adding up, you know? So now we got a card with Manson's DNA on it. It was like a sliver. I don't know what they do. They like take a sliver of skin or something. I don't know what they do. It's the coroner who does it. It's professionally. It's court ordered too, so it's all done by the court. So yeah, I have Manson's DNA. Me and my attorneys have control of Manson's DNA through Kern County coroner, sitting there for Jason to use because we wanted it to match. Go ahead, now we've got DNA, match it, because in court, Jason made the statement to the judge, I'm not giving my DNA to channels. But if the court asks for it, then I will, okay? We're getting to that because the court did ask for it. Well, anyway, Brunner, he knew about all that. He knew I have Manson's little DNA specimen in a jar here, and he wanted it. And he was mad, and he was just telling me all kinds of crazy things. First, he was telling me that I needed to sign him on with my attorney so he could be part of the case. And I'm like, I don't know about that, man. This is a lot of money into this thing. You already had your own attorneys. I don't know how that works, you know. I don't know if you can just switch attorneys and jump on something. Yeah, I don't know. That just don't sound right, Michael. I says, if you're worried about the money portion of it, you know, don't worry about the money portion of it, because if there's any money to be made in this crap, we'll just make a trust and it'll go to your kid, because Michael has a kid. He actually brought his kid over to my house. Actually brought his wife over to my house. I says, the trust will go to your kid. You know, he can get all the money because he's actually Manson's real grandson, not this other clown. And Michael's like, it's not about the money. You need to sign me up now. I don't care about your trust. Because I kept telling him about this trust for a long time. And he was like, I don't care about your trust. And he was making it sound like it was just some petty thing. And he wanted all kinds of control. And I says, no, man, I don't know. I'll give you that. How about this? You get a trust for all the money for your kid. And after this, you can have the DNA, because he wanted the DNA because he don't even know. He was so eager to find out if he's really Charles Manson's kid. And I'm like, Michael, all the books say so. Why are you doubting it? And he's the one that brought doubt to my mind by even bringing that up, saying, like, I want this DNA bad. I need to check myself against it. And if you don't, or else. And I'm like, okay, Michael, or else. You know what or else is, right? I don't care about your trust no more. I don't care about nothing that has to do with you anymore. That's your or else. you know, because you called me, bro. I didn't call you. So there we were with that. And then that phone call ended. Never talked to him again. That was like when, who came into the scene then? That was like when the granddaughter finally came into the scene. Because no, Michael wasn't being honest with me then either. He was trying to sucker me again. So it wasn't very long. I show up in court, and we've got a new guy, another Manson's son. And how did he get there? Because he matched the DNA with Michael Brunner. But there was only one problem. That kind of DNA is inadmissible evidence in court. So yeah, basically Michael Brunner already knew when he called me on the telephone drunk that him and this guy matched. And it wasn't going to work in court because they were already getting a lawyer. They were having raffles online. They were all being fun and games and Manson Family Day. But that wasn't going to fly in court. They didn't actually need a raffle. They needed the DNA that we have. So he tried to play it off like it was for him. When actually, another sneaky move. When actually, in all actuality, since we have this DNA and we already offered it up to Jason Freeman, and a judge even agreed with that. Hey, these guys have DNA. They're offering it up to you. So on this day, this judge ordered the FTA blood card that we have on possession in Kern County Coroner. Go ahead, Jason. Take it. And use it. And match it up to yourself. And there's the judge's signature right there. You can go do it, Jason. Jason Freeman's DNA. So now Jason was at his day in court where he was standing in front of the court saying, hey, you know what? If the court says so, well, now the court's saying so. And you know what Jason does? He appeals. And to go to appeal court, it takes more lawyers. It's different court. It's a lot of money. And again, Zach Baggins was paying for it, so it wasn't no money to Jason. But he appealed it. When originally they were going to make the movie called Bloodlines and everything, and now they want nothing to do with touching Manson's blood, so much that they tried to destroy it on their own. We got it saved, now they didn't even want to touch it. So you think we're going to hide it from Daniel in court, Brunner? No, you just made a stupid move on a telephone, being sneaky, when have at it. Test it against Daniel. See what happens. It's coming up September the 21st. And I might have saved the day for you by saving this DNA because they surely wanted to destroy it. So, am I the bad guy? Who knows? Maybe I am the bad guy in the story, your story. But in my story, I've done everything along the way to try to prove everything that they asked to prove. It's these people that keep denying all that. In the last video, I was telling you how I had to be my own attorney for a couple times in court. Well, Jason's attorney is required to give me the information of the things that I asked for, and I asked for Jason's birth certificate, and this is what he gave me. And I'm like, come on, dude. Can you give me something that I can at least read? They used all the ink in my ink, the whole black ink cartridge on this thing. And he goes, oh, no problem, I'll hook you up. That's what he sent me next. And I'm like, come on, man. So this is when you don't have an attorney, they play those kind of games with you. That's Jason's birth certificate right there. That's what they were showing me. But then when I got an attorney, I know the reason they were trying to make this black the whole time. They didn't want me to see it. Because this is what his actual birth certificate looked like. Jason Freeman. His mother, Sean Marie Freeman. Father's name. Father's name, there is none. It's blank. So that's where we're at now. There's Jason Freeman and this new guy are left. And this new guy, he has to prove that he's Manson's kid. And the only way he can do that is with the DNA that I got. Because you know I'm a collector. I collect everything. I even collected the DNA so they have it now so that they can use it. And I want to show you something else. Another thing that I've collected. Like I said, Michael Brunner came over to my house. He brought his wife over. He brought his kid over. And while he was over here, he was here for a couple hours. And while he was here, he was smoking some cigarettes. So when he left, I thought, wow. In that clean ashtray there's a whole bunch of Michael Brunner cigarettes. I could probably sell those. I'm sure somebody on here would want to buy one of them, put them in a nice display, put a picture of me on there. They came from my house, right from my ashtray, the day that he was there. All that stuff, like Jason did with the bones. I could do with the cigarettes too. But I was more interested in something else on these cigarettes. So yeah, that was like the, I don't know, it was like I think it was the fourth, maybe the fifth time Jason had to show up down in court. He walks around, acts like a star, I love stars. I love watching stars. Because stars floating around, and they forget things. They forget things like coffee cups. They just leave them sitting there, And people like me that like stars, we go over and snag even just a coffee cup from a star because, it means something. And that's what I did one day in court. Jason pretended like he was a star. And I thought, okay, I'll treat him like a star. He don't want that coffee no more. I do. Because I'm a collector, and things that stars leave behind, they're worth a lot of money, They can go for some good cash. But I wasn't really interested in how much cash this would bring. Just collecting it. So that's kind of where we're at in court right now. Daniel has to show up. If he wants, he can test the DNA against Manson. It's there for everybody who wants to test. Even Michael Brunner afterwards. So that phone call was a waste of time. He just really turned me off for no reason at all. And it boils down to, basically, I'm the only one that has Manson's DNA. And everybody else's. So, we'll see. Come September. Is Daniel? Don't know. Didn't have anything laying around to pick up his. Good thing I didn't go to Family James. But until next time, peace.